Hello everybody and welcome. This is the Shy Hat and we are HackerFrogs. So we're going to be doing a HackerFrogs after school. This is a HackerFrogs after school extra credit session. We're currently in the middle of doing our web app hacking course, and on Monday we took a look at Burp Suite for the first time. Let's take a look at the summary for that particular session right there. So we have our good friend hacking Uzubi, hacking Uzubi. That sounds pretty good. Welcome, and I hope we can learn a lot about Burp Suite today. If you want to join in, you might want to fire up your Burp Suite program with us. So Burp Suite is the industry standard software framework for testing web apps. It includes many different tools, but the Burp tool that enables the rest of the framework is. UZB says, let's see, is this going to be recorded? Yeah, this live stream is going to be recorded, and we're going to be putting it up on the YouTube channel. So it's at youtube.com/@theshyhat. It's in chat right now if you want to take a look at it. So the Burp proxy. So the Burp proxy server is what enables web traffic to be captured and recorded. It sits between the browser and the server, enabling traffic capture. So let's start up our Burp Suite, and we can get started today. We're going to be going over some exercises in the Overthewire Natas CTF game. So if you're using Kali like I am here, all you need to do is go up to the corner over here and type in burp, and it's going to appear as the first option here. Just click on that, and we're going to start up our Burp Suite Community Edition over here. So when it starts up, you're going to see some windows. All you need to do is to click on the orange buttons. So this one labeled Next, and this next one over here labeled Start Burp. So just click on those, and it's going to start up the project. So notably in the Community Edition, you really can't save any of your project settings. So you just have to understand that when you turn off Burp Suite Community Edition, everything you have is going to be lost. You're not going to be able to save anything. So once you're inside of Burp Suite, there's one important thing to do, and that is to go to the Proxy tab right here. So the Proxy tab, we're currently on Dashboard, there's Target, and then there's Proxy. So click on the Proxy tab, and we want to make sure that this button right here, Intercept is Off, is set to Intercept is Off. If the Intercept is on, that means that whenever we have any web requests that come in through Burp Suite, we're going to have to manually modify those requests, let them go through, or to drop them, and that is a big pain in the butt when all we want to do is just to navigate through with our web browser. So make sure that the Intercept is On button is turned off, just like it is right here, and then we can move on with our day. Okay, so now that we have our Burp Suite started, what we want to do is we want to open the Burp browser. So the Burp browser is going to be the interface through which we record all of our traffic. So we need to go down to either this button right here, which is labeled Open Browser, or Open Browser in here. So if you don't see this particular screen, that might be because you're on the wrong tab. So you want to go over to the Proxy tab, so this tab right here, Proxy, and then this tab right here, Intercept, and from there you're going to be able to click on the Open Browser button. So open the browser, and the Burp browser might take a little while to initialize, but in my case it came online pretty quickly. Okay, so the Burp browser is a Chromium browser, and every web page and all the traffic that you access through the Burp browser is going to be recorded in the HTTP history, which is another tab inside of Burp Suite. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to go to the, we're going to look up Overthewire Natas, just like we have over here in our search. So this is inside of the Burp browser. And then we can navigate over to the Natas page, which is over here. It's at http overthewire.org/wargames/Natas. So I'm going to provide the link to this in the chat. Make sure that you're accessing this from the Burp browser instead of on a regular browser. So we see here that so this is kind of like a double lesson, because we're going to be going through Natas. But since we went through Natas previously in our web app hacking workshops, I'm going to assume that you have too. But if not, we can just go through the exercises together. So Natas is set up in stages, levels, where the username is going to be the level of the game. In which case, it starts at Natas 0 and then goes to Natas 1, Natas 2, etc. And the password for the first Natas level is Natas 0. But in the next level, in the Natas level 0, in the Natas 0 level, we will find the password for Natas 1, and then Natas 2, and then so on. And the password for the next level is contained in the current level. All right, and it also has a URL right here, which is going to let us access the game. So let's copy that, and then paste it into our Burp browser, and navigate to this Natas level, Natas 0 level. So normally, I'm going to get rid of my cookies, because I've previously been here before. So history, it's going to be in more tools, developer tools, and it's going to be in network. No, it's not going to be in network, it's going to be in console. No, it's going to be in application. Okay. So cookies over here. So I have a cookie for this level already. I'm going to, hold on. I'm going to delete these both. So I'm going to delete them both. And then I'm going to reload the page. So normally, when you access the Natas 0 level, it's going to ask you to sign in. So remember that the username is going to be Natas 0, and the password is also going to be Natas 0. So just click on sign in. And then on the web browser, it says you can find the password for the next level on this page. I'm going to make this text a little bigger. Okay? But more importantly, we've captured this traffic inside of Burp Suite. So we can minimize the Burp browser. And then inside of Burp Suite, we can go to proxy HTTP history. So it's proxy HTTP history. Click on the HTTP history tab, and you're going to see that all of the traffic that was recorded through the Burp browser is inside of here. So it's in order over here from the first request that we did all the way to the 89th over here. All right. So we're looking for the one that went to Natas 0, which is this one right here. So it's a get. So we can see that it's a GET request, and we can see all the information right here in the request window, and we can also see the response to this request over here. Okay, so this was the request right here, and we see all of the HTTP headers that were sent with the request, and we can also see the response from the server over here in the response window. And we see, as part of the response, it says you can find the password for the next level on this page, and you can also see the HTTP comment over here. The password for Natas 1 is this right here. So all we need to do is copy this and keep it somewhere, and because this is going to be the password for the next level. So I'm going to paste this in the chat just in case you need to access it later. Okay? So that means that by using Burp Suite, we're able to see the response from the server, and which contained the password from the next level. Okay, so let's go back to the Burp browser, which is right here. So here we can modify the URL in the address bar, and instead of Natas 0, we're going to change it to Natas 1. So we take the 0, we highlight it, and we replace it with 1, and then we navigate to Natas level 1, and again it's going to ask us for a username and our password. So our username is going to be Natas 1, and the password is going to be the password we got from the response from the last level. So it should be still saved in my clipboard. I'm going to paste it in, and then we're going to click on sign in. So inside of Natas 1 right here, it says you can find the password for the next level on this page, but right-clicking has been blocked. So I'm going to make this text a little bigger. So this is the web browser, what we can see from the web browser. But of course, there are some things that on the web browser that we can't see, including the rest of the HTML code. And this was all picked up by Burp Suite, of course. So we can go back to Burp Suite, and we can take a look at the proxy HTTP history right here. So we see that a few more requests have been recorded over here. So we can see the request that we sent to the server here, and of course it contains our password right here, actually. So when we typed in our password and we sent the request, it created this header right here, which is called authorization basic, and then it's going to encode the username and the password into this base64 encoding over here. But as well, we can see that in the response, oh, this is the wrong page. I'm highlighting Natas level 0. Okay, so we should be highlighting Natas level 1, and it's probably going to be this one right here. So again, we see the authorization basic header is here, but it's also much longer than it was before, because the password for this level is much longer than the one for the previous level. Okay, so inside of here, it also says, like we saw in the web browser, you can find the password for the next level on this page, but right-clicking has been blocked. So this was supposed to be an exercise that was about accessing HTTP source without using right-clicking, but we kind of circumvented that by using Burp Suite. So once again, the password is inside of this HTTP comment right here. So we can highlight this, and we can copy it, and I'll paste it in chat for everybody. So if anybody has any questions about what we're doing or any comments, feel free to type them in chat. I like to feel that this is a back and forth, and and like a conversation whenever possible. So if you have any questions about what we're doing inside of here, go ahead and ask them in chat. Okay, so now that we have the password for Natas level 2, we can navigate to it using the Burp browser. So we can go back to the Burp browser, and then we can manually navigate to Natas level 2. So in the address bar, change it to Natas level 2, and then hit enter. And once again, it's going to ask us to sign in. So I'm going to supply username Natas2 because this is the level Natas2. And then we're going to paste in our password. And click on sign in. All right, and here it says there is nothing on this page. So once again, we're not going to get the answer for this level by looking at the web browser. So we're going to minimize the web browser again, and then we're going to go back to our proxy HTTP history. And at the end over here, we see that there is, so this second to last request right here, we can click on that. And once again, we've got our request to the server, our authorization, which is our username and password, which has been encoded using base64. Well, the problem with using basic authorization is that everybody knows that it's going to be encoded using base64. And in fact, if somebody were to intercept this web traffic right here, they could probably get the username and password by highlighting this, by copying this this string right here and going to some sort of base64 decoding website, maybe base64.decode. And if we were to paste in the string that we got from the basic authorization request, and then click on the decode button, then we see in plain text what the password was for Natas2, and then the password here separated by a colon. So that's the problem with using basic authorization. It's okay for some circumstances, but it's not a secure method of sending usernames and passwords. All right, so with that little rant done, let's go back. So inside of the HTTP response over here that was sent by the server, it says there is nothing on this page. But as well as saying that there's nothing on this page, right below it, there's an image source, which is this directory right here in this file. So files in this directory and pixel.png. So this particular file right here. So this is a relative path. So what we can do is we can copy this. And then inside the request, we can we're going to send this to the repeater. So the burp repeater is what lets us resend requests, so we can replay them. So we're going to right click on this request, and we're going to click on send to repeater. Otherwise, we could use the keyboard shortcut Control R, and then the repeater tab is going to light up like this. So just click on it, and we see that inside the repeater we have a request. And then we can send it over and over again, and we can also modify any of the headers or any of the body information. So what we're going to do is we're going to send a GET request, but we're going to modify it so that it goes to get/file/pixel.png instead of what we were doing before. So this is a modified request. We can send it by clicking on this button. And it says HTTP 200 OK, and this is the PNG file over here. It is we can see the information, the data that makes up the file, and because we're using this view right here, we're not using a web browser. The PNG is not going to render correctly, and it's just going to seem like a bunch of nonsense characters. But if we were to access this inside of our regular browser, so we can go to our Burp browser. And on the end of this address bar, we're going to tack on files/pixel.png. So we see that this is the file right here. It's a single pixel. And even if we make it really big, it doesn't get much bigger. But the other interesting thing about the information we got from the server there is that it was inside of this files directory. So we know that there's a directory called files that holds the file pixel.png. What if we try to manually navigate to that directory right there? Okay, so we can get rid of pixel.png, and we can just try to navigate to this files endpoint. And we can do that, and we can click on send. Okay, and it says, and we got the response, it was okay. So, and we saw here, it says index of files. So this directory right here is has open directory listing, which means we can see all the contents of the files. So we see that there's an icon, image 2, and this would be rendered inside of the web browser. And in fact, let's try to look at this inside of the browser because it looks a lot better inside the browser. There is also a render tab inside of the response, which is going to try to render out the page as if it were rendered by a web browser. So inside of response, we're in the pretty tab. There's the raw and the hex, and we can also click on the render view, and it's going to show us what it would look like if it was rendered by a browser. And we see that there's this file right here called users.txt. All right, so we can't necessarily click on hyperlinks using this view right here, but we know this is what it looks like inside the browser. So inside of this file right here is a users.txt file. So if we know that, we can just manually browse to this file by changing up the request over here. So inside the request, so we can change the endpoint to /files/users.txt. So with that modification done, we can just send this. And this is the response that we get. So this is the browser rendered version of it, but if we're to look at the raw version of this, we see the server response, and then we can get we see the text right here. Because this is a text file, you don't see all the other HTTP code. So the contents of this file are a bunch of usernames and passwords, which also includes the password for Natas 3, which is right here. So we can copy this, and we can use this as the password for the next level. I'm going to copy it into chat. Alright, so that's how we get the password for Natas level 3. So let's navigate there using the Burp browser. So I'm going to clean up this this address bar a little bit, and then I'm going to modify it to say Natas 3. And we're going to be prompted to log in. So the username, of course, is Natas 3, and the password is what we got previously. We can just paste it in, and then click on sign in. And once again, it says there is nothing on this page. So there's nothing on this page, but we know that's probably not true. We're going to minimize the browser again. And then we're going to go back to our proxy HTTP history tab, and we're going to navigate down to the bottom. So we're looking for the second to last request, because that's the one that retrieved the home page for Natas level 3. So the last one is going to get the icon for this particular website. That's not what we're looking for, or at least it isn't. I don't think it's what we're looking for. Yeah. So this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the second to last request. So just click on that. And this is the request, and this is the response. And in the response, it says there is nothing on this page. And it also says inside the comments, no more information leaks. Not even Google will find it this time. Okay, so the reference to Google right here, not being able to find files, is talking about the robots. Sorry, they're talking about search engine robots, and search engine robots are automated website crawlers, which visit websites and try to map out or index the contents of those websites. So the names of these search engine robots they're usually called web crawlers or web spiders, and they're going to index websites on behalf of search engine websites so that they're able to show the contents of those websites in their search results. All right, so all of that is a long way of saying that we're looking for a file called robots.txt, and robots.txt is a file that webmasters can put on their website, and the robots.txt file is going to dictate which parts of the website can and cannot be indexed by search engine robots. So we're looking for an endpoint called robots.txt. So we can navigate to the robots.txt file inside of Burp Suite by clicking on the request over here, and then right-clicking it and sending it to the repeater. So right-click, select Send to Repeater, and then click on the Repeater tab. And we see that this is the request information for accessing Natas 3, Natas level 3, and we have our basic authorization string right here, so we can access it. So instead of the base directory, or sorry, the landing page, we're going to look for robots.txt. So it's going to be get/robots.txt, and if the file is present, then we're going to get the response, the content of robots.txt in the response window. So click on send, and then in the response over here, there's all of our regular response headers, and there's also the contents, which is user agent star, which means that it's going to accept all user agents, and disallow /secret, spelled with these with the 3's instead of the e's over here, which means that the search engine spider robots will not be able to index this particular directory right here. So, but the unfortunate thing is that if bad guys know where to look for the robots.txt file, then they can find out potentially sensitive areas of the website. So we know that there's this endpoint right here, which is called secret. So let's highlight this and copy it. And we can manually navigate to it by going to the request portion of the window here and pasting in /secret, just like this, and then we can click on send to get the contents of this directory right here. Okay, so we see inside of a response index of secret, which means that this directory is also being listed, which is a website vulnerability. So this looks this is not very readable, but we can also change the view of our response from code to website web browser render by clicking on the render tab right here, and we see that there is a users.txt file right here. So because we know that, instead of a request, we can navigate to that as well. So our get is going to be to /secret/ users.txt, and we can resend this request. And in the response, we see the password for Natas level 4, and it does this right here. So I'm going to copy that. And I will paste it in chat just in case you need to use it. Okay, so we're going to minimize our Burp Suite and go back to the Burp browser. And we're going to navigate to Natas level 4. And Natas level 4, of course, we need to log in once again. So it's Natas 4 for the password, and Natas 4 for the username, and the password is going to be what we just copied from the website. So sign in. And it says access disallowed. You are visiting from empty string, while authorized users should come only from http natas5.nataslabs.overthewire.org. Okay, so here we're going to use, so what we're looking for is we're looking to modify the HTTP header to include this right here. So we're going to copy this URL, which is what the website is looking for, and then we're going to go back to Burp Suite. So inside of Burp Suite, we're going to go to the Proxy HTTP History tab, and we're going to navigate down to the bottom again, and we're going to look for the second to last request right here, which is to natas4.natas.labs.overthewire.org, and we're going to send this request to the repeater, and we're going to do that by right-clicking and clicking on Send to Repeater, or we can also use the Control-R keyboard shortcut. And then we're going to go over to the Repeater tab, and we see the request is in the Repeater tab, and we can also modify it. So we can just send this again, and we see that we can click on the Render tab inside of Response, and we need to use this portion right here. Authorized users should only come from this URL right here, and this refers to the HTTP referrer header. So inside of here, basically anywhere we want, we can insert the referrer header, and we can do this manually by going to. We can go to anywhere inside of this request, and then we can stick in refer and then put in a colon and then a space, and then we're going to paste in this URL right here, which I did previously, so I'm just going to paste it in. And so basically what this particular website is looking for is it's looking for this HTTP referrer header to be included in the request, and if it's in the request, then it's going to give us access. So to test out this theory, we can send this, and then the response says access granted. The password for Natas 5 is this right here. So we can also look at it in different tabs. So this is inside the code tab, the pretty code tab. There's also the raw code tab. There's the hex values for all of these for the response, which gives the ASCII hex representation, and there's also the web browser render version as well. So I'm going to copy this. Well, I can't copy from this view, so I'm going to go to the pretty tab, and then I'm going to copy the password and paste it in chat for everybody. Okay, so now that we have the password, we can go to the next level of Natas, which is Natas level 5. I'm going to minimize my Burp Suite, and in the Natas browser, I'm going to modify the URL, Natas 5, and then navigate to this. Username, of course, is Natas5 because we're on Natas level 5. Password is what we got previously. Paste it in. Click on sign in. Okay, and it says access disallowed, you are not logged in. Okay, so what is this all about? So we're going to solve this inside of Burp Suite. We're going to minimize this tab, and then we're going to go back to Burp Suite. So inside the proxy HTTP history tab, we're going to go down to the bottom, and we're looking for the second to last request. And it says natas5.labs.overthewire.org. Okay, and we have all of our regular headers. And in the response over here, we see that it's setting a cookie for us. So whenever the server sends a cookie with its response, it's going to send this particular response header, which is set cookie. So set cookie, and then the name of the cookie, and then the value of the cookie. The name of the cookie is logged in, and then equals, and then the value of the cookie is 0. So logged in equals 0 means logged in equals false. So because 0 means false, in Boolean logic, 0 means false and 1 means true. So logged in equals false. We can modify this to logged in equals true. So we're going to do that manually by using this request right here, and then we're going to right click it and send it to the repeater. So click on send to repeater, and then go to the repeater tab. Okay, so the first thing we can do is we can just send this raw request. And we can see once more that set cookie is logged in equals 0, but we can actually set this cookie to true. So I think it's going to be, I think it's just cookie. So at the bottom of our request, we can include the cookie. So cookie, and then the name of the cookie, logged in, and then equals, and then the value for the cookie. So we're going to send cookie logged in equals 1, and this should let us quote unquote log in and obtain the password for the next level. So we're including this cookie. Send it, and if we render this, it says access granted. The password for Natas6 is this right here. Okay, we're going to go back to our pretty version of it, and I'm going to copy this password, and I'm going to paste it in the chat. All right, so the reason we were able to access this level is because we were able to manually modify. we were able to modify the HTTP request using Burp Suite. So inside of Burp Suite, we were able to set our cookie over here, and so all of these. The thing about HTTP headers is that they can be modified before we send them to the server, which means that if we can guess at the valid name and value of a cookie, then we can potentially take advantage of the system. So everybody who uses cookies to log in or to maintain sessions has to make sure that the values of cookies can't be easily guessed. So in this case, we could easily guess from the logged in cookie being initially set to 0 that what we needed to do was set it to 1 and resend it. So that was the lesson for this level, and we were able to successfully solve it using Burp Suite. Okay, so we're going to minimize Burp Suite and move on to the next level. So we're going to modify the address bar, so we're going to Natas6. And the username is going to be Natas6, and the password is whatever we got from the last level. I'm going to paste it in, sign in. And it says here, input secret. So input secret, we could type in test and click on submit. And in response, we get wrong secret. Okay, so if we were to go to Burp Suite, to the proxy HTTP history tab, we can see here that the last request we sent to this web page was this one right here. This one right here, which is a post request. So there are generally two heavily used HTTP methods. The first one is get, which simply retrieves information from a web page, and then there's the post method, which is sending data to a web page. So this post request right here is us sending this secret data right here, which equals to test, and submit equals submit. So submit equals submit is basically, we don't have to think about it too much, but apparently they really want us to send this data whenever we submit any data. But this one here, secret equals test, is basically user controlled. So on the web page, we can type in whatever we want and then send it, and then a response. In the response over here, it says wrong secret. So what is the right secret? That's the question we need to solve. So we're going to minimize Burp Suite, and inside the Burp browser we see that there's this one tab over here that says view source code. So that's going to let us see the source code for this particular web app. We can just click on it, and it includes this right here. This is some PHP code, and it says include. We know that this is PHP code because it has these particular brackets right here. So PHP is as far as I know, PHP is the only language that begins its code blocks and ends its code blocks with a bracket and a question mark. And then, well, it begins with a bracket question mark, and it closes with question mark bracket. So we see the PHP code in here, and it says include / secret.inc, inc rather. So, and the code goes, if array exists, submit and post. So that's that was part of the data that we sent in our post request. If secret equals, if variable secret equals the post secret, then print access granted, the password for Natas 7 is censored. So it's comparing whatever we send with this variable called secret. But inside of this code, the variable secret is not defined. We don't see the definition of the value of the secret variable anywhere here. So we have to assume that that this code is getting its variable secret from somewhere else. So if we know PHP, we know that the include keyword right here is going to let the code incorporate other code from other locations. It's very similar to the Python import keyword, which lets us import code from other files. In this case, it's the same thing, but in this case, it's given this this relative file path right here, /includes /secret.inc. So we assume that the variable for secret right here is going to be in this file. So because we know this exists, we can navigate to it ourselves. So we can copy this, and because we're working with Burp Suite today, we're going to go to Burp Suite to solve this. So inside of Burp Suite, we're going to go to our GET request over here, which is going to be 2 above the POST request, and this is the GET request that goes to the landing page for Natas level 6. We're going to right-click on it, and we're going to send it to the repeater. So click on Send to Repeater, go to the repeater, and we copied that that file path from the source code there. Inside the on line 1 get, we get to set the endpoint that we're going to get. So we're going to paste this in. Instead of get slash, it's going to be get slash includes slash secret dot inc. So this request is going to get this particular file. Click on send. And this is this file just contains some PHP code, and we know because it's using these brackets right here, and it has the value of the secret variable right here, and it is this string. So we know that this is the string we're supposed to send, because it's because in the previous code it was being compared. So we can copy this. I'll paste it in chat just in case you want to try it out. And then we're going to go back to the proxy HTTP history, and we're going to go back to the post request right here. So the post request right here, we previously were using secret equals test, but we know that we need to send secret equals whatever we got from the other page. So we're going to send this to the repeater as well. So right click, send to repeater. And then we're going to go to the repeater. Remember, we're looking for a post request. So we can go down to the bottom, where in the post request is the data that we're sending to the server. We know that submit has to equal submit, and secret has to equal that string we got previously. So paste in the string, and it's going to be secret equals this, and submit equals submit. Alright, so click on send, and this is going to be a post request instead of a get request. So we're going to send some information to the server to be evaluated. So send it, and in here it says access granted, the password for Natas 7 is this. So I'm going to copy this and provide it to the chat. Alright, so once again, so this code can be a bit messy to look at. If we wanted to see just what the web browser would have rendered out, we can click on, in the response, we can click on the render tab, and we get a more user-friendly version of the response. Okay, so now that we have the password for that, we can minimize this, and I think we're just going to do one more level of this before we move on to something else. So inside of the Burp browser, I'm going to clean up the address bar, and we're going to Natas level 7. Once again, the username is Natas 7, and the password is what we just got. Paste it in, sign in. Okay, so here it's we have two tabs right here, home and about. So we can click on home, and then it says index.php. Up at the top, at the address bar here, we see that the address has changed to index.php. So we know that this is that this website is being run on PHP, and then we see this URL parameter right here. So we know that this is a URL parameter because there's the question mark right here, followed by the name of the parameter. In this case, it's page, and then the equal sign, and then the value for this parameter, page equals home. So page equals home, and then if we click on the about link right here, the value of the page parameter changes from page equals home to page equals about. So this implies that the parameter that the URL parameter here is fetching the page name based on whatever we feed to the URL parameter. So anytime we see something like this, there could be a website vulnerability, a web app vulnerability called local file inclusion. Local file inclusion is where the web server is accessing files on the web app rather is accessing files directly from the web server. And normally this is also the case, but in this case, the user is able to manipulate exactly what file is being accessed by the web server. So let's demonstrate how local file inclusion attack might occur. So we'll close out, we'll exit, sorry, we're not exiting, we're minimizing our Burp browser, and then we go back to Burp Suite. And we're going to go back to our proxy HTTP history tab. And at the bottom, we see here that this is the endpoint right here. So the endpoint right here is going to be get/index.php and then question mark to indicate URL parameter page equals home. Okay? Nothing wrong with this so far, but what we need to do is we need to send this to the repeater. So right click on it and then click on send to repeater. And inside the repeater we can modify the request. So how are we going to modify the request? We're going to do a test to see if we're able to access arbitrary files on this particular web server. So we know from the information that we got in the Natas CTF game about page that let's bring it up so I can demonstrate. So each level has access to passwords for the next level. Your job is to somehow obtain that next password and level up. All passwords are stored in the /etc/natas_webpass. For example, the Hey Dreamer 1991 says, hello, Hey Dreamer 1991. I forget, are you from Black Girls Hack or are you from somewhere else? But I'm glad to see you here. Do you have access to the Burp Suite software? Because that's what we're working with today. So we see from /etc/natas_webpass. So for example, the password for Natas5 is stored in the file /etc/natas_webpass/natas5 and is only readable by Natas4 and Natas5. Well, so the file structure here heavily implies that this is a Linux file server. Sorry, not a file server, a web server, a Linux web server. So if we were to do local file inclusion, we have to take that into account when we're trying to test for it. So this is how we would test for local file inclusion on a Linux web server. What we do is in the request portion, we would go up to the URL parameter page equals, and instead of home, what we're going to do is we're going to escape the directory where the web app is housed. So by using a bunch of //slashes. So // is the Linux shorthand for going up in a directory. And so we can supply a bunch of these, maybe 7 of them should be enough. And then this symbolizes going up to the top of the top level of the Linux file server, Linux web server rather. And then we're going to try to navigate down to the etc directory and then the password file right here. So /etc/password, which is misspelled like this, is the file on a Linux system which tells you who all of the users are on that file system. So if we're able to access this file, that means that we were able to escape the web app directory and access arbitrary files on the web server. So we're going to send this request, and if we see the contents of this file right here, that means that that the application is vulnerable to local file inclusion. So we're going to send this, and inside the response, there's all the regular stuff right here, but there's also the file contents of the Linux password file. So if we were to render this out, we get the pretty version of this right here, and then we get all of the different users on this web server. So there's from all the way to Natas 0 to Natas 28. So because we're able to access this file, that means that this web app is vulnerable to local file inclusion. And the way we can access the password for the next level is through using this local file inclusion to access the file that has the password inside of it. And where is that file? Well, we know, for example, the password for Natas 5 is stored in the file /etc/natas_webpass/natas5. So we can just copy this as a shorthand, and then we can go back to our Burp Suite. So we're going to replay this request, but we're going to modify the endpoint right here. So this is Natas level 7, but we're looking for the passwords for Natas level 8. So inside of here, we're going to modify this so it's not Natas 5, but it's Natas 8 because that's the password that we're looking for. So modify this so that it's Natas 8. And so I'm going to explain one more time what's happening right here. So because this web app is misconfigured and uses URL parameters to access files on the web server, but doesn't check whether or not it doesn't check whether or not the files that it's accessing are supposed to be accessible by the web app. That means that we're able to essentially read any file that is accessible by this particular web app user. In any case, okay, so inside of this line right here, we're accessing the web app, but in the URL parameter right here, we're escaping out of the web app's directory, and we're navigating all the way back to the top of the file system using these .. slashes, because that's the command that you would use inside of Linux. And then we're going down to the etc. directory, and then inside the Natas webpass directory, and then we're accessing the Natas 8 password right here. So using this vulnerability, we're going to send this request, and this is the password right here. So we can copy this. Oh, we can't copy this. We're going to go to the from the render tab right here to the pretty tab, and then we can copy the password from there. And then I'm going to paste it into the chat just in case you need it. But what we're going to do is we're going to stop at this point, and we're going to move over to another platform. So so the last thing we're going to do before we Oh, Hey Dreamer says, when Advent of Cyber 2023 ends, I've been starting soft tools like Splunk, Waza, QRadar. Okay. So hey, I'm not sure when you first came to my stream. Hey Dreamer 1991. Was it during Advent of Cyber 2023? I have a pretty bad memory. And I might ask you, have you used Burp Suite before, and have you learned about web app hacking before? All right, so now that we've okay, so we're gonna finish with the Natas ATF, and we're going to move on. What I really wanted to do with this web app hacking course is I wanted to introduce Burp Suite to you all in order for you to be able to use the following website, which is portswigger.net. And portswigger.net is the Portswigger, the company, is the developer of Burp Suite, and there's some really great training labs over here. So I'm going to log in. So in order to do this, you're going to access the training materials. You're going to have an account over at Portswigger, but it's a free account, and you don't have to pay for anything. So it's a pretty good deal. I'm going to need to get the password for this website. I'm just going to grab it. Just a second. Okay, so Hey Dreamer 1991 says, yes, I first visited your channel Advent of Cyber 2023 quests. Oh, nice to hear. Nice to hear. Yeah, so I've been pretty busy since then, doing my my HackerFrogs beginner cybersecurity lessons. But you say that you've been starting to use SOC tools like Splunk was on QRadar. Does that mean, are you currently working as a security operations center analyst, or are you aiming to do that job in the future? And how long have you been learning about cybersecurity, if I may ask? Okay, so after we've logged into the portswigger.net website over here, let me just make this a little bigger. You can go over to this tab right here, labeled Academy. And inside of here, it's this is probably the best website to use to learn about web app hacking. And they have a bunch of different articles on a bunch of different topics. And I'm going to look at an overview of all topics. So they've got it split up into two categories. There's server-side topics, which talks about a bunch of different vulnerabilities that are located on the server side, including stuff like SQL injection, authentication, path traversal, command injection, all these different web app vulnerabilities. And then there are client-side topics, which are vulnerabilities that occur on the web browser side, such as cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, clickjacking, and other stuff like that. And then there's a bunch of other advanced topics over here. So each one of these has a bunch of articles written about it, and then there are also interactive labs that you can access as well. So let's go to a relatively simple topic, such as path traversal. We were just talking about path traversal. we were just talking about path traversal earlier today. So in this example, in this section we explain what path traversal is, how to carry out path traversal attacks and circumvent common obstacles, and how to prevent path traversal vulnerabilities. So they've got this article right here talking about path traversal, which is basically when you're able to access directories without specifying a specific file. So when the directories are wide open for anybody to look at. So reading arbitrary files via path traversal. Let's okay. So I'm not necessarily here to oh wait. So no. Path traversal is what they call local file inclusion. Okay. So this is reading arbitrary files by using the web application. So the I'm sorry, very inarticulate today. So what I wanted to teach Burp Suite for is so that you're able to access these labs right here from Portswigger. So very few of these labs from Portswigger are completable unless you're using Burp Suite. So inside this lab right here, path traversal simple case, I'm going to click on this, and then it's going to give us the lab instructions right here. It says here that this lab contains a path traversal vulnerability in the display of product images. To solve this lab, retrieve the contents of /etc/password file. Okay, so that's what we're supposed to do in this particular lab. In order to start the lab, we're going to need to click on this button right here, labeled Access the Lab, so click on it. And what this is going to do, it's going to spin up a virtual machine that contains this lab instance. Okay, so this so the labs instance over here, it tells you up at the top whether or not you successfully solved the lab. And this is basically a sample web application. So in this lab instance, and this is a virtual machine that is spun up whenever you want. So it's very convenient for users to try out. And this simulates a shop web app. So for example, you can click on the details for any of these products, and of course these are all kind of nonsense products, but that's kind of Portswigger trying to be funny. It's okay. Anyways, what we need to do to solve this lab is to do the following. So inside of here, this lab contains a path traversal vulnerability in the display of product images. To solve the lab, retrieve the contents of /etc/password file. So path traversal vulnerability in display of product images. So on the website here, there are all these images of products. What we need to do is we need to manipulate the file path for these files to show us the contents of the /etc/password file. So because we've been using our Burp web browser, we can go over to Burp Suite and go to the proxy HTTP history tab, and then navigate all the way to the bottom, because it's been keeping track of all of the web traffic that we've been doing, including this including our lab, which is, what is the URL for our lab? Let me okay, Hey Dreamer says, yes, I tried visiting. Okay, I've already read that. Never mind. Okay, so this is the endpoint right here. It's this string right here, .websecurityacademy.net. So let's find that address. So this right here, this is the request we're looking for, because this is the correct host, and we're looking for the URL that is just / which is basically just the landing page. So we can take this, and then we can right-click it, and then send it to the repeater, and then click on the repeater, and we can send this. And of course, this is all the code. What we can do is we can click on the render tab to make it look pretty. And we see the shop right here. So the lab description said that that the images were the source where we could do local file inclusion. So we can go back here and we can take a look at the links for each one of these file names. So /image file name equals 48.jpg. Okay, so we can try to. Hey, Jeremy says, for future, I learned. For future. Okay, so it's for the future. I learned first blue team category in TryAcme. Now I know Python basics for POC scripting. Also, I learned C language in 2015 with Kali Linux. Okay, so yeah, that sounds like a journey, a journey that you've been taking with cybersecurity since 2015. That was 9 years ago. So now you're trying to learn about blue team stuff. Are you trying to become a SOC analyst, or are you aiming to be a penetration tester, a security tester, network security tester, or web app security tester? I'm just curious about that, about what role you're aiming for. Okay, so maybe this is so let's see what the let me take a look at what the description says. Path traversal vulnerability and the display of product images. Okay, so product images. So I'm going to view details on this particular. Okay, and I'm going to open the image in a new tab. Okay, I think this might be the point where we can. This might be the point right here where we can access the local file inclusion. So this one is file name equals 8.jpg. So we're going to find this one inside of Burp Suite. So I'm going to minimize this and then go to Burp Suite, proxy, HTTP history. Okay, and where was the one that we got for the product? Let me take a look in the so /image. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going this URL address. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go to this request, and then I'm going to send it to the repeater. And then in the repeater, I'm going to paste in the endpoint. So I don't need to include this information. So, and I'm going to try to retrieve this image using this request right here. So it's /image and then file name equals this. And send that. Okay. And if we were to render this, it's going to show us the image of this origami right here. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do a local file inclusion attack by manipulating the file name equals to not this right here, but we're going to do a bunch of /slashes like we did in the previous exercise. And then we're going to try to access the /etc/password file right here. And we're going to send this and see if we get what we want. Okay, I think maybe that was not the correct injection point. Oh, no, it did work. But in the render, it doesn't show. Okay, so that was the injection point. And we were able to see the contents of the etc password file, which means we have finished the lab. If we were to go over to the lab page right here, it says the lab has been solved. Okay. So Hey Dreamer 1991 says, I think SOC analyst, but my memory forgets a lot because I was in university in 2015 and not continually working cybersecurity. So my memory is also bad like me. Oh, thank you. I have first start last 3 years. Okay. Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, you know, we're all trying to find the right path to get the job that we want, because we want to do something that we care about. In my case, I also started learning cybersecurity in earnest about 4 years ago when the pandemic started. But I'm glad to hear that you're here and learning about cybersecurity. All right, so that was an example of us using Burp Suite to solve this particular lab. I'm not sure if we're able to access. Victoria Orr says, "Hey, Victoria Orr, how are you? You are from Black Girls Hack, correct?" I have a very bad memory, like I told our good friend Hey Dreamer 1991. But here, yeah, we're here and we're solving challenges using Burp Suite. You're doing good. How about me? Well, I'm here doing live streaming, teaching everybody about Burp Suite and about the Portswigger labs right here. So let me see if I can solve this without Burp Suite. So I'm going to open this in a new tab, and I'm going to try to manipulate the file name here. So that file name is going to be the password file. So this doesn't work. This doesn't work if you're not using Burp Suite. Okay. Victoria Orr says, from where? Oh, Victoria Orr. Have you been to this stream before? Your name seems familiar, but you're not from the Black Girls Hack organization, right? Okay. So I just wanted to demonstrate that if you have Burp Suite and you feel okay about using Burp Suite, that you're able to access the materials on portswigger.net, which include a bunch of great articles and also interactive labs that you can use to learn all about web app security. I've watched you one time, but I'm not from that community. Okay. Yeah. So, Victoria, if you feel okay, could you tell me a little bit about your background? Are you a cybersecurity student? Are you working in cybersecurity? Because if you're not interested in cybersecurity, I'm not sure why you would be watching this channel. But glad to see you here nonetheless. Okay, so what did we do today? We took a look at the Burp Suite software, and we were navigating around in there, getting used to using features such as the HTTP history and the intercept, as well as the Burp Suite repeater tool, which we use to solve a bunch of cybersecurity challenges today. Victoria says, I'm currently studying control and automation engineering. Oh, interesting. Are you so are you interested in learning about cybersecurity, or is the control and automation so you're currently studying control and automation, but not cybersecurity? Well, I mean, either way, I'm happy to see you here. We're going to be ending stream in a little bit, and I was thinking about sending everybody here over to another cybersecurity channel so that we can get some cross-pollination between viewers. But I'm wondering about your user icon. Victoria. Is that from some sort of anime or something else, or some game? I'm not very up to date with my games and anime, unfortunately. But yeah, so before we end stream, I'm going to do some shameless plugging. So we are HackerFrogs, and we have a Reddit subreddit, so reddit.com/r/HackerFrogs. And here we've got a bunch of posts on how to get into cybersecurity. I think it's so old that I picked up some years ago. I can't remember where it's from. Oh, you mean the avatar? Yeah. I have a lot of notes for cybersecurity. My desktop have 55 notes. I guess you're the type of person who has a lot of files on their desktop. So, and I kind of do too. But I try to clean off stuff from my desktop every once in a while. So this is the address for the HackerFrogs Reddit, and there's also my YouTube channel. So Hey Dreamer 1991 probably knows about my YouTube channel already, but if to anybody who doesn't know, it is located at youtube.com/@theshyhat. So I actually publish a lot of cybersecurity videos on here. So we recently did an event, which was Pico CTF 2024, and I've been cataloging all of the walkthroughs that I did for that event, which you can find on the YouTube page. So they're all relatively short videos. They're mostly under 10 minutes long, and some of them are under 5 minutes long. Victoria Orr says, were you editing the pic by the address web? Isn't it easier if you just open Google Colab and do it from there? Google Colab, or I'm not too sure if we're talking about Google Colab or are you talking about Google Browser? We're talking about the Google Chrome browser? Hey Dreamer 1991 says, I have 2 directory offensive and defensive notes, not all of them inside. Well, I'm happy to hear that. It's very important to keep good notes when you're learning about cybersecurity. No, Victoria says Google Colab. Let me look this up. Google Collab. Google Colab, spelled like this, where you can add IA to help you. I send these notes to my mail and my USB. Okay, so are you talking about Google Collaboratory? Okay, what does this do? Let me take a look. So Google Collaboratory allows you to write and execute Python in your browser with zero configuration required, access GPU, USB charge, easy sharing. Oh, this looks pretty cool. I should probably look more into this, especially when I'm teaching about Python in the future. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for telling me about this. I'm going to write this down. and I'm going to look it up a little bit later. Google Colab. All right. So, but what I use for note taking is Notion.so. So Notion.so is a website you can use for collaborative stuff, but you can also use it to take notes and to create file associations. And because Notion.so is online, you're able to access it from wherever you can get the web access, which is pretty nice. But that's what I use. But back to what I've been doing on my YouTube channel. So I've been cataloging all of my PicoCTF challenges over here. As well, if you wanted to take a look at previous live sessions, I've got all of my live sessions over here. So if you want to take a look at any of the HackerFrogs workshops that I've been doing for the last 4 months or so, you can take a look at any of them over here. And I guess I'll just leave this in the chat. But hey guys, it's been great that you all have been joining me over here. But I'm going to end stream pretty soon, and I'll send you guys over to the Overgrown Carrot 1, which is another cybersecurity streamer. I hope you guys have a great time over there. Hey Dreamer says I'm going to sleep because 2 hours after I go to job in municipality. Well, have a great night, Hey Dreamer 1991. But yeah, we're going to raid this other streamer who is Overgrown Carrot 1. Alright, see you guys over there, and tell them that I sent you.